I wonder how many people are going to hear this. If no one listens, did the podcast actually happen? Oh, forget it. Welcome to the very first episode of Unqualified and Uneducated. I am your host for today, and hopefully for many more episodes. My name is Robert Cleveland, and welcome to the Unqualified and Uneducated podcast. Here at the Unqualified and Uneducated podcast, we hope to give you our unqualified and uneducated opinion on all things sports, movies, TV, anime, or anything that's fun and interesting. You know, anything that myself or the other hosts and you guys, yes, you guys, the listeners, the viewers, whatever you guys find that's interesting, email us on or leave a comment on our Instagram page, Facebook page. We're gonna get the Twitter rolling, SoundCloud, iTunes, anywhere where you guys hear us and you guys listen to us, or where you find us. Leave a comment. Tell us what you guys want to hear, what you want to talk about. We want to make this podcast a place where people that just want to discuss can come and have a discussion. And hopefully, when we get really rolling, we can have you guys on the podcast. That way you guys can discuss, argue, agree with us live, which would be super dope. So without further ado, let's get to some topics. But first, I want to talk about why the why the podcast is named Unqualified and Uneducated. I decided to name this podcast Unqualified and Uneducated because the statements that are made on this podcast are unqualified and uneducated in their purest essence. The people on this podcast, including myself, have never played any professional sport, directed a movie, made a TV show, made an album, sung. Nobody. We don't have that kind of talent. But what we are people who love sports, love music, love movies, love TV, love anime. And we like to have discussions. And we just thought we can, record them, put them out there as a podcast, have a little fun with it, get some people, hear some other people's opinions, and make this, make it a fun platform. So if you hear anything on this podcast that you don't agree with, and the reason why you don't agree with it is because we never played before, or we've never done this or that, and we wouldn't understand it, you're probably right. I'll tell you the truth, you're probably right about everything. But at the same time, you can come here and just, if you like what we say, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But just know that we're unqualified to make these statements, and we know we are uneducated in this field of knowledge. So you don't even need to tell us, because we already know. And yeah, we're probably trash too. So you don't need to tell us that we're trash either. Just cop a listen and see if you like it or not. If you don't, tell us what we can what we can work on, and then we'll try to fix it. And if we can't fix it, oh man, just lie to us and tell them we're good anyway. Just lie to us. So let's talk about some topics today. Today's agenda is going to be pretty straightforward. I don't want to go in too deep in a discussion without the other hosts, just so we can have more opinions. But some things I want to talk about today are a little bit of the NBA Finals. I know it's 2 or 3 days removed. It's over. We can all put that behind us, but I still want to just highlight some things. Talk a little bit about the NBA draft. I think the Raptors and the Pistons have both had their head coaching searches completed. They both have their head coaches, so I want to get a little bit about that on, and talk a little bit about some music and some movies, and then call it a day. So the first thing on the agenda was the NBA Finals. I mean, is there anything left to say about it? I just feel that, and I'll be going on more into this, I didn't think that the Cavs could win, but I definitely thought that they would play better. I thought the Cavs would lose in six games, which was fair. I gave one game to LeBron's brilliance, and I felt that they could have grabbed one game in Cleveland, just with the players being at home and the strength of the crowd carrying them through, plus LeBron James's brilliance. But that did not happen. Game one, I really feel that the Cavs were robbed. The charge block, that was a bang bang play, and they called it a charge originally, and there wasn't enough for them to reverse it. Or I thought that there wasn't enough for them to reverse that call, but apparently there was. And I just felt the reason that they went back for the replay was a little BSy, if that's a word or if that's anything. It was a little bush league in the sense that their whole reason for going back and looking at that play was to see if he was outside of the restricted area, and he was well outside of the restricted area. So there was no need for them to check that play out. Even it was just a bang bang play. It could have gone either way. That happened. George Hill missing the free throw happened, and then the infamous play from the Henny God himself, J.R. Smith. that, that happened too. So, they lost game one. And I felt like after seeing that game, LeBron James, his soul was just crushed. Game two, they're in it in the first half, lose that as expected. Game three, they are ahead. They're pretty much ahead the whole game, and it was so much like last year's game three where they were in control the entire time, and I felt that LeBron James would pull it out. I felt like LeBron and Kyrie, I felt like they had enough to pull out the game, but the Warriors just came back late in the fourth, and KD hits that shot over LeBron, and it's over. And coincidentally, KD does that again this year, almost in the same exact spot. But there was something a little weird about Game 3, and I have to tell you the truth. I felt like LeBron quit in Game 3. It was so weird seeing Kevin Love. The last two plays before the game was really out of hand. Kevin Love had the last two possessions, if I remember correctly. I think LeBron came down and shot a three and hit the side of the rim, or he airballed, and then they come back down. Kevin Love backs down Iggy. Iggy gets a strip, but it's called a foul. I thought it was a clean strip, and he goes to free throw line. So I was like, okay, that saves a little time off the clock. They can reset, but then they come back down again, and then Kevin Love goes to the post again and gets stripped by Iggy again. They call it clean this time, and then I think Steph comes down and hits the first three of the game. I can't remember correctly, but it's something on the lines of that. But I was just thinking, man, what is going on with LeBron? Like, you can't if LeBron James is on your team and he's having one of the best closing seasons or closing posts, like he's closing out games the best he's ever have in his career in these playoffs, and so you have this level of cerebralness that's at a high level where he can close out games, issue that he had earlier in his career. If you have this player on your team and he's the greatest player in the world, Kevin Love is not the person that should be closing out games. I'm sorry, I can't accept that Kevin Love is the closer. I can understand if it was Kyrie, because Kyrie was that was his role when he was with the Cavs as the assassin. But this year it has to be all on LeBron, and I just was disappointed. I was actually frustrated to see that, because this is who is supposed to be challenging Michael Jordan for the greatest of all time, and he's not closing out the game. And I think there was a play where he tried to pass it into George Hill, and he tried to pass it into George Hill at one point. It was congested down low under the basket. The ball was stolen. And I'm just like, you can't, I was just disappointed in that. And it was really frustrating for me, because I like LeBron. I don't think he's better than Jordan. I do think that he gets a lot of hate. Some of it's rightfully so, because he tries to control narratives. But I just, I feel for the guy. I want him to go out on a high note. I didn't want him to go out and get swept like this, and it happened. So now the LeBron James sweepstakes is now in full effect, and I have some interesting. I don't actually. They're probably not even interesting. I think everyone has the same opinions. Actually, scratch that. I have my opinions on where I think LeBron James is going to end up. I'd like to discuss that with some of the guys and have them on the podcast and see what they think. and try to, collaborate with those guys when they come on. Hopefully we can get that going soon. But I think the main places where he has the best shot of winning would obviously be in two places: San Antonio and Houston. I would say Houston because of the talent level of Chris Paul and James Harden. That would help him because LeBron likes to play with other high caliber players, and he's been successful with other high caliber players. And also San Antonio because there's a high caliber coach there, high caliber player, and high caliber system. The only problem with both of those destinations are the system. Can LeBron stop playing the LeBron James style system where it's just almost an AAU, I get the ball, you guys run and try to get open system, to playing in pop system where there's more ball movement or there's more off ball movement and there's more equal opportunity, and in the Rockets where it's a 3-point shot or layup type of system. Can he switch his game to fit in those? LeBron James has the greatest IQ in the game, so I don't doubt that he can do that. But 16 years now. It's going to be his 16th year in the NBA. Can he change the way he plays? Is that possible? Can an old dog learn new tricks? That's the real question for this offseason. And I think that, I don't know if he can. Can he, instead of being LeBron, the GM, the coach, the equipment manager, the hot dog maker, the valet, can he drop all the roles that he has and just become an NBA player for the first time in his career? Like, he's never just been an NBA small forward. He's always been the offense. Can he stop being the offense to become a player? And I don't know if he can. It would have to happen for it to work with the Rockets or the Spurs. So I feel like the best spot for him to go and to keep on doing the same thing he's been doing is for him to go to the Lakers, which I actually am pretty excited for him to go to the Lakers because I just want to see. Sorry about that. I had just got a text message and it kind of messed up my whole recording thing. I told you this is a busted up operation, so bear with the technical difficulties. But I thank you for that. But like as I was saying, I really want him to go to Lakers because I want to see how the Laker fans are gonna react to having LeBron there. Yeah, they're gonna be all excited and happy they got LeBron, but are they gonna be championing him as the greatest of all time? Because I feel like before the Warriors fans were, the great enemy of LeBron, or LeBron was the person that they kind of digged at the most. It was Lakers fans because they were always in the greatest player in the NBA currently and the greatest player of all time. They're always against LeBron on that end. It was always Kobe over LeBron. Kobe's better. LeBron's never played Kobe in the finals. So I want to see how they're going to react to, defending LeBron and also bigging up LeBron, because when when LeBron is your franchise player, you have to, kind of exalt him to that level. You have to champion him. And I want to see all the Lakers fans. I want to see how they backtrack on everything that they've ever said, because like I said, Lakers fans have always been the most ardent LeBron haters before the Warriors and before, he went to Miami and it was the Cavs fans and he went back and then the Miami fans started to hate him a little bit. It's always been Lakers fans that hated LeBron the most. So I can't wait to see that. But back to my other point. LeBron James would go to the Lakers. He would have assets to trade. He'd have Paul George coming. Maybe they could get Kawhi in a trade, maybe not. So I feel like it would be the best system for him to go to, because he would be able to have that level of control that he would not have in San Antonio, and he most likely wouldn't have it in Houston, because for all intents and purposes, James Harden is the Rockets. He is the franchise guy, and Chris Paul is also there. So you have two ball dominant guys. So it's interesting to see when the LeBron James the sweepstakes starts. it's interesting to see how that plays out. Because he's the domino that affects everything. He would affect if Paul George goes or not, which is interesting because Paul George might not even leave OKC. So, that there's that to think about. So I just want to talk about it a little bit. I got some guys that are coming on that have been really following this, and they really want to have their opinions, and we can discuss that. And then, so we'll do it at a later point. So moving on to the NBA draft, that is June 21st, I believe it's Thursday. It's always on Thursday, and I gotta say, I think Deontay Ayton is going number one. I feel the Suns would be foolish to not draft him over number one, and there's a possibility of that happening just because they are the Suns and they have made some questionable decisions. But I can't judge them because I'm from Sacramento and I follow the Kings. I'm a huge Kings follower, so like I know all about foolish decisions and mistakes. So I can't really judge another franchise for that. But I feel like in this draft, if you're in the top 4 or 5, if you come out the draft without a big, I just think it might be a mistake. I see Luka Doncic, his highlights, and I see the things that he's able to do, and I do think they're good. And he's only 19. I feel like he could be a good player, but I just don't. I don't know. There's something. I don't know if it's whether I think he's slow or the talent's not there. I just don't think he's that athletic. And I understand you don't have to be a superhuman athlete to be in the NBA, but there's something about him that there's question marks. And I mean, that opinion is not unjustified as seeing as he's somewhat slipping in the draft. I don't know, but it could be a smokescreen. I don't know why it would be, but I think the Kings came out. The Kings and the Mavs came out. They both said they're willing to move down. They want to move down, and who knows if that's a smokescreen or not. But I don't know why it would be. You just make your trades, do what you're gonna do. But the Kings had just worked out Marvin Bagley, and it seems like that would be a good fit. And then the Mavericks, only the team that I definitely see drafting Luka is the Memphis Grizzlies because they already have their center. Like unless they're gonna trade Marc Gasol, which I don't think is gonna happen anytime soon, and they still have Mike Conley under contract. I feel like Luka could come in there and help them win much easier than he could come in and help the Phoenix Suns or the Kings or Atlanta win, because he has a game that would definitely help out older players because he's looking to make the pass and things like that. Other players are like the players on the Kings; they're still looking for their role. Same thing with the Suns, but I feel like having a player like Luka who has a defined role, I feel that he's the most NBA ready as far as skills and his mental process. He's the most NBA ready just because he's played professionally. I think for 3 years now. So, I see him going to the Grizzlies, but like you never know because the Suns, their coach was his coach back in their home country. I don't want to butcher it or say it wrong. I think they're Slovenian. I might be wrong, but my apologies. But I think when they both were in Slovenia, the head coach the new head coach of the Phoenix Suns was Luka's head coach back there. But there's also Vladi has ties. Vladi and Peja, they're all of them. Bogdanovich, Vladi, Peja, Luka, they're all from that area. So I can definitely see Vladi drafting him, and Vladi has been scouting him for a while now. So I can see him going I can see him going second to the Kings. Definitely see that. I don't really see him going to the Hawks because the Hawks are still trying to figure out what they have. I don't know if there hasn't been much feelers going out that has pointed to them wanting Luka, but you never know. You never know what could happen. So that's just a little bit on the draft. I feel like, as we get closer to June 21st, more things will come out, kind of point us in the direction of who's more interested in what player and who's going where and if there's trades to be had. But I think that I think number one's for sure. Deontay Ayton is going to the Suns, barring anything catastrophic as far as injury or something that wasn't evident earlier. I think the Suns will draft Ayton, and after that, it's gonna be interesting with the Kings and the Mavs willing to trade down. One second, what are the Mavs doing if they're trading down? What is their game plan? Are they trying to compete? Are they rebuilding? They're keeping Dirk on. Dirk's not really the player he used to be anymore. Harrison Barnes, is that your franchise? Is that your leader? You have Dennis Smith. Are you trying to build around Dennis Smith? What are the Mavs doing? If someone could leave a comment and let me know. Like, I'm not sure if I understand what's going on. Are they just trying to get the best talent available? I think that if I were Mark Cuban, I would be trying to rebuild through the draft at this moment. Keep that. I think they're fifth. Keep that fifth overall pick and try to get the best player available. I think at that time it would most likely be, you know, what's his name? It would most likely be Michael Porter Jr. maybe, or maybe they go after a Jaren Jackson or a Mo Bamba, whoever's available of those guys. I would go after him. I really, unless they want to trade down to I don't know, maybe the Clippers and get that 12th and 13th pick and get two players instead of one. What? Who knows? We'll see, and we'll hear some more as it comes out. In other news, Nick Nurse has been hired as the new head coach of the Toronto Raptors. He was the assistant under Dwayne Casey for the past 5 years, and he has many years experience as a head coach in the D League, or once the D League, now G League. And I think he even won some GD League championships. I think one or two. So this guy has the qualifications to step in. I think he's next up in line. He's ready to take that challenge. But my only question is this the right move? What I mean by that is, I have a question of, is the coaching really the issue? I mean, I don't know if it's the coaching. It might be the players. I don't think DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry strike me as players that are leaders. And you have two guys that kind of shake under the pressure. Like Kyle Lowry last year had to leave a game in the conference finals. No, sorry, not conference finals, semifinals. He had to leave a game in the semifinals against the Cavs to decompress. The moment was just too much. And this year, DeMar DeRozan sort of imploded. And I just feel like it's not the coach. It wasn't Dwayne Casey's fault that the Raptors didn't make it. It was the players. And to me, that's evident. And seeing that the Pacers, who they're an up and coming team. They're still pretty young, and this is Victor Oladipo's first year as being like the real quote unquote man of the team. The lead guy. He was still figuring things out. He was able to take LeBron to 7 games, and the Celtics that were undermanned didn't have two of their main players and were essentially led by a rookie and two second-year players. They were able to take LeBron to 7 games. Those two teams were able to take LeBron to like the brink of elimination, and he had to put out Herculean efforts to stay in and not get eliminated. They were able to take him to 7 games, but an established team, the best team in the East record wise, a good system, supposedly the deepest bench in the league, the best bench in the league. I believe they have the sixth man of the year in Victor Van Fleet on the team. DeMar DeRozan was supposedly having a breakout year, being able to shoot the three. This team got swept, and it's not the coaching. It's not Dwayne Casey's. It wasn't Dwayne Casey's ability to reach the players. They just have fear of. They just can't play against LeBron. LeBron it really that Toronto is really LeBronto. He owns the Raptors, and they could not get past that hump, that mental hump. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if a new voice is going to change anything, unless Nick Nurse completely changes their offense and does something about Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan shrinking against LeBron. I don't think there's any offensive game plan that you can come up with that can stop that. And it was bad. It was sad to see. It was sad to see because I mean LeBron is not even defending like he used to be. He's not even a defender anymore, and he's still, these guys were not scoring right. They weren't defending, missing assignments. Maybe a move to the West or a move to a conference where LeBron isn't. Maybe that will help. But I just don't think that changing the coach is going to change anything. Now on the Pistons side, Dwayne Casey, that's funny. He's moving from Toronto, which is really cold in the wintertime, to Detroit, which is really cold in the wintertime. So he's not, he's just going from a cold place to a cold place. But as far as the team goes, he's going to a team that doesn't have a lot of room to make an addition. I think Andre Drummond is locked down for I think a couple more years. Blake Griffin just signed that huge contract last year, so he's going to be locked down. I think Reggie Jackson still has I think 2 more years in his contract, and he's coming back from injury. So there's not a lot of movement um, or assets for Dwayne Casey to work with this team. This team is pretty much who it is. Similarly to the Raptors, they both teams are pretty much locked down in who they have and what they can do. So it'll be it's I'm excited to see what Dwayne Casey can do. He's on record. I would think he went up to First Take and spoke with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith about Blake Griffin having an IQ that's off the charts, and that's great and that's good and all. But if his IQ is great, can he stay on the court? He's just been too injury prone these last what 8 years, 9 years since he's been drafted. He's just been too injury prone to really put any stock into him. Yeah, he has shown that he's a good player. And there was a year where he was in the MVP conversation. I think he was like fourth or fifth. I forgot what year that was, but he can never stay healthy enough to complete the season or show up when they most need him. So I don't know how much Dwayne Casey, what he can do, and if he can bring out the superstar in Blake Griffin, how will he keep Blake Griffin on the court health wise? Because Blake Griffin has been through it all with the knees. The knees are just his downfall. And even the year that it wasn't the knees, I think it was a hamstring. And when he punched an assistant, or not an assistant, an equipment manager in the face and broke his hand, it's just always something. Some guys are just going to be injury prone. You just have guys that just get hurt just to get hurt. They just get hurt. And we'll see how Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond can mesh after a year. They're playing together an off season, a year, a full summer of chemistry. How they can come together. What can they do about their shooting that they have literally none. I think they'll be counting on Luke Kennard to make strides in the off season, and Stanley Johnson to make some strides, and Reggie Jackson to stay healthy. So, I mean, I don't see much from this team. I can see them, maybe Dwayne Casey can pull it out of them and they become a second round exit. I don't see much more than that. The East is not getting enough credit, but they're slowly becoming a stronger conference with the Celtics being who they are, and they have a lot of room to grow. The Philadelphia becoming who they can be. The Miami Heat are tough, and who knows what happens in the offseason. Maybe they get a guy to come in. They're tough out with the right help. Giannis with the right shooting help, as teammates that can shoot. Him learning and developing a better shot. He that the Bucks can become more dangerous. So you have what? Then there's just the Raptors are still there. They're gonna be fighting for a top five seed no matter what. So you have teams. I don't see at best. I can see the Clippers having a great season and being the fourth seed, but that's at best. So I don't see how much Dwayne Casey what he can do. And I like Dwayne Casey as a coach. He's a good coach. Um, we'll we'll see what he can do with those guys. We'll see what he can do with that roster. But he's excited, and I'm happy for him. He didn't deserve to get fired for that. It's just he's not on the court losing to LeBron. His system was working enough to win them 55 games and get them to the second round and get them to conference finals and get them to semifinals all these years. But at some point you got to draw the line, and Usai Majiri chose the players over the coach, and I don't blame him, but I just don't think it was the right move. But that's all in the past. He's with the Pistons. Nick Nurse is with the Toronto Raptors, and we'll see how they both fare in the next season, and we'll see if they are able to make any trades or any moves or how the draft affects them. I don't think the Raptors have a pick this year, and I think they're only they have Fred Van Vliet to work with. I think that's it. That's the only free agent they can really re-sign, and I don't know if he comes back, he might be worth more money than they're willing to give him. So that'll be interesting. And then the Pistons, I think they might have a pick. I don't know what they should have a pick in the first round. So I don't know how that affects them. Who can they get? We'll see. All interesting stuff. At times the NBA offseason can be just as interesting as the NBA regular season, and definitely more interesting than the finals we were presented with. No shots. Nah, all shots. Bang, bang, bang. If I had a gun sound effect, I'd use it right now. But bam. Oh, but you didn't know I had the guns in the holster, and I could pull them out any time, any place, any time. Probably not right now because um, I'm not a violent person. So enough of that basketball stuff. Just want to get into too much of it today. You know, any good music out there? I mean, I've been listening to on my playlist. I don't really listen to the radio or anything like that. I get all my music from Apple Music. I've been listening to a lot of what's this guy's name? I've been listening to his album Heavy Juice World. That's what Juice World. I've been listening to his album a lot. I think it's called Goodbye and Good Riddance. A couple the singles on there are smashes. All Girls Are the Same, Lucid Dreams. My favorite song is probably I'm Still. That goes hard in the whip. Car, for those of you who don't know what the whip is. Um, Hurt Me is good. There's a lot of good tracks on there. So I've been listening to that album a lot. Also, got the old school cuts. Can't go wrong with the old school cuts. And J Rock got that single Win. That's the workout anthem of the year. That's the workout anthem of the whole summer. Every time working out to that, always got that song blasting in my ear headphones. Everybody can hear it. I'm not gonna have eardrums at the end of this summer because of that song. But gotta put that work in the gym. You wasn't with me shooting in the gym. I wasn't even shooting in the gym. I was jogging on the track, just jogging around the track. But other than that, what else we got? What's left on the menu? Oh yeah, movies. I think The Incredibles are coming out. Um, I mean, I'm gonna see it when it comes out. I'm not like crazy excited about it. I think a lot of people are super excited. I'm kind of like, yeah, it can come or it can go. I already it's been a long time for me. I kind of don't really care too much about that one. But Jurassic Park, I think that's coming out on the 22nd. Yeah, I gotta see that. I love the Jurassic Park. I love dinosaurs. I love it all. When I was younger, I wanted to be a paleontologist. Can't even say it right. I wanted to be a paleontologist because I love dinosaurs so much. I had all the books growing up, all the all the documentaries on Discovery Channel when they came on. I was always glued in front of it. Jurassic Park was always the series. The Jurassic Park series is probably like the series that I watched the most as a kid. Like rewatched episode after episode after episode, or movie after movie after movie. I would rewatch it over and over again. So I can't wait for that to come out. Definitely gonna be watching that either Thursday night because they usually come out earlier than normal, or I'll be watching it Friday night. Gonna have fun. All right, so that's pretty much the close of the podcast. It's a little rough. This is the very first one, and thank you for the people who have stuck it out and are sticking through it with me. And next week, hopefully, we have another host on there, and we have it's a little more. There's more. Hopefully, there's more cohesion. No. Hopefully, there will be more cohesion. I'm gonna have a logo. We're gonna have more original music on here. It's gonna take off, and I'm glad that the listeners that are listening in on this. This is it's in my hopes that this takes off to a higher level and we can make a platform out of it. Do all kind of discussions and this is just the start, and it sounds crazy now, but I really wanna have this be bigger than what it is right now, bigger than me sitting in front of a laptop with a microphone in front of my face. And we can do it. We can make this ours, and you guys can be a part of this too. So just stay tuned and keep on listening in and keep tuning in. Hopefully I want to get at least one episode a week, because I feel like that's a good one episode a week. And also do some other things. I plan to have some guests on here, some local maybe rappers or things like that, people who do interesting things, some fun things, interview them on the podcast, put some of those things out. Truthfully, I'm not gonna lie, since I live in Sacramento, I will be talking about the Kings a lot. I can't even lie, it's the truth, man. I love my Kings, and I'm gonna be talking about them, and some of it's gonna be a little bit there's gonna be rants, there's gonna be depression, there's gonna be overexcited. I'm gonna be overexcited for no reason. It is what it is. Just know that you guys will experience that bumpy ride, the bumpy ride that is being a Kings fan. So thank you guys for listening to the very first episode of Unqualified and Uneducated. Should I name this episode? I don't know. I don't even know if anyone's gonna listen to it, but it's your boy Robert Cleveland, aka Young Dolo, aka the Rookie Podcaster, signing out.